Hi, I'm Arun Raja, Assistant Professor in the Department of Aeronautical Engineering, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore. In this video, we are going to see about these landing gears used in the aircraft. Introduction about the landing gear. Landing gear is the major component of the aircraft which is in need of designing for landing and takeoff. The landing gear is the structure that supports the aircraft which is on the ground, and it allows the aircraft to taxi, take off and land on the runway. In fact, landing gear design tends to have several interferences with the aircraft structural design. The landing gear are not addressed in the earlier stages, but those designs and its parameters which have a strong impact on the aircraft configuration, design and the aerodynamics will be discussed in this video. In addition to the aspects of landing gear, the shock absorber, retraction mechanisms and brakes will be considered as non-aeronautical issues. The purpose of the landing gear. The purpose of the landing gear is to generate friction, and it applies brakes on the wheels during landing. When it takes off, it provides the forward motion and generates lift. The taxiing is the process in which the aircraft is taken from the aerodrome to the runway. Nomenclature of the landing gear are the components of the landing gear. The struts are the main components, trunnion links, strut fittings which connects other important components like actuators, springs, locks, torsion links, axle, gear dampers, brakes, wheels or tires, pipelines, the gravel reflectors. The gravel reflectors are the most important component here. In the side picture can see the other small components of the landing gear. There are different types of landing gears used in the aircraft. Based on the usage of fluid on the landing gear, we can classify the landing gear into two different types. One is pneumatic landing gear and another is hydraulic landing gear. Based on the drag generated by the system, like the amount of cross-sectional area open to the surface that generates drag. One is retractable landing gear, non-retractable landing gear and the skid landing gear. The skid landing gears are more prominently used in landing on ice and water surface. Based on the usage of arrangement of the wheel, there will be a conventional tail wheel type landing gear in which the wheels are arranged in a conventional manner, and the next is longitudinally arranged tandem landing gear, tricycle type landing gear and quadricycle type landing gear. This picture will give us a clear view about what the landing gear is placed. The single main landing gear. In this, the landing gear is at the center and there will be a small supporting small wheels which are connected in a tricycle manner. In case of tail dragger, the adjacent wheels from the nose is not available. In case of quadricycle landing gear, like a car, we have 4 different position of wheels. There will be a bicycle landing gear system as well as tricycle landing gear system. Bicycle means 2 wheels, tricycle means like a triangular section. And the next is multi-bogie. That's what we people are now using in the commercial aircrafts. The landing gear which are connected to the fuselage will have maximum of 8 to 16 wheels, which is based on the weight of the aircraft. Next, type of landing gear based on weight of the aircraft. As I already mentioned, bogie type of landing gear and multi-bogie type of landing gear. Based on the configuration, single main, bicycle, tail, tail gear, tricycle, multi-bogie, reasonable rail, skid, seaplane landing, and the final one is human leg type landing gear system. Then we'll see about the shock absorbers in the landing gear. In case of absorbing the shock when it is landing, we need to support the aircraft fuselage by means of providing some shock absorbers. In earlier days, we didn't have any shock absorbers, but at the development stages from 1940s to 70s, there are different type of strut systems, hinges, and triangulated articulated systems were used to absorb shock. Nowadays, we people are using more and more pneumatic and hydraulic shock absorbing systems. Gear retraction geometry. Another aspect in the landing gear is to decide whether after the takeoff the landing gear is exposed to air or it will taken back into the belly of the fuselage. In this, we can have four different alternatives. The landing gear is released after the takeoff. The landing gear hangs underneath the aircraft. In some cases, it just hangs, but it didn't generate much amount of drag. The third condition is landing gear is completely retracted inside the aircraft, either inside the wing or inside the fuselage. And the final condition is partially retraction. The landing gear is partially retracted inside the aircraft. This is the bed for landing gear. We can say that as a home of landing gear. The first picture gives the landing gear is embedded in the wing, and in the second case it is padded behind the wing, and the third case it is settled inside the fuselage side, and the fourth case we can provide an extra carriage which is used for the padding of landing gear. The fifth case, wing and fuselage constitutes partial areas, and that should place the landing gear after its retraction. And the final condition is in the nacelle. The parameters. In general, following on the landing gear parameters are type, either it's fixed, retractable or partially retractable, what will be the height of the landing gear, what is the base of the wheel, tracking, distance between main landing gear and center of gravity of the aircraft, what about the strut diameter, tire sizing, landing gear compartment if it is retracted, then what is the amount of load acting on each strut in the landing gear. These are the most important parameters when we are considering a landing gear for an aircraft. This will be the simplified hydraulic system which is used to extend and retract the landing gear of an aircraft. The oil pump generates an fluid flow which is accumulated in the accumulator, which is meant to open the valve by the control sticks. These control sticks are available with the pilots. They decide when to activate or deactivate the landing gear. With respect to the movement of these control sticks, the control cables are actuated that opens the valve, and the accumulator distributes the pressure to the system called actuator. If the actuator is highly pressurized, Like the control surface opening here, we can have the landing gear. If we are having a reduction in the pressure between this master cylinder, the return line will take up this pressure here, and that will return the aircraft landing gear into the hub or the resting position. That's it about the landing gear in this video. Thank you for watching.